Well, one of Hollywood's most famous and most powerful producers, you see him right there, Harvey Weinstein, has been fired from his production company following allegations of sexual harassment. The Oscar-winning producer of movies such as Shakespeare in Love and The King's Speech is accused of sexual misconduct that spans decades. Weinstein issued a written statement that acknowledged causing, quote, a lot of pain. Now, here's part of that statement. I came of age in the 60s and 70s when all the rules about behavior and workplaces were different. That was the culture then. I have since learned it's not an excuse in the office or out of it to anyone. Well, the A-list stars who worked with Weinstein remained silent when the story broke last week, but not anymore. Oscar-winning actress Meryl Streep said she had no knowledge of Weinstein's behavior. Nevertheless, she released this statement. The disgraceful news about Harvey Weinstein has appalled those of us whose work he championed and those whose good and worthy causes he supported. The intrepid women who raised their voices to expose this abuse are our heroes. Now, men have also been condemning the movie mogul, like actor and director Mark Ruffalo. To be clear, he writes, what Harvey Weinstein did was a disgusting abuse of power, and it was simply horrible. I hope we are now seeing the beginning of the end of these abuses. And actor Michael Keaton with this, Harvey Weinstein, yikes, disgusting and creepy. So is the leader of the free world, by the way. All right, for more on this, I'm joined by Caitlin Moore, who reports for arts and entertainment for The Washington Post, and our very own Scott Roxborough, host of VW's Kino, a weekly rundown of the latest in the world of cinema. Scott also reports for The Hollywood Reporter. Hello to both of you. Let me start, if I could, then, with you, Caitlin. Hollywood's biggest open secret. I guess everyone knew about it except Meryl Streep. Why did almost everyone keep quiet for so long? I can't imagine that Weinstein paid off everyone to be quiet.
No, I think it's very much an issue of, well, the phrase open secret in and of itself is kind of troublesome because it's a secret, sure, so some people had to not have known. But enough people knew that it could be an issue. It said in the original New York Times investigation that there were some women that never had an issue with him. Ashley Judd, one of the high-profile women who spoke on the case, said that in later movies, she also did not have a problem. So I think it varied very much case to case, actress to actress.
Scott, what about you? I mean, we've talked many times about what's going on, in the world of film and in Hollywood, and people with access, people who don't have access. I mean, how do you explain Harvey Weinstein being able to do this, allegedly do this, for such a long time?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with his power, his perceived power within Hollywood. I mean, I would accept the idea that this was an open secret. It's certainly something that I'd heard in the 15 years I've been reporting on Hollywood. I mean, just last year, I had a sit down with various other members of the Hollywood Reporter at the Cannes Film Festival, and we talked specifically about how to break this story that the New York Times broke last week. We've been trying to do it for a decade, and a lot of other publications have been as well. The rumors have been there for a long, long time.
What has stopped you, though?
We couldn't nail it down. I think there was an issue with just said the people wouldn't come forward. In some cases, you can understand that. And I think in a lot of cases, people who had maybe heard things or had seen things were worried that if they had went on the record, if they came out against Harvey Weinstein, he could have a serious impact on their careers. You have to remember, he may have faded in the last few years, but at this point, Harvey Weinstein was considered the most powerful man in Hollywood, a man who could make or destroy a career on a whim. And I think that image of him, at least, whether or not it was real, scared a lot of people into silence.
Caitlin, let me ask you, a couple of things have happened recently. We've seen Playboy's Hugh Hefner. He has passed away. Now we've got Harvey Weinstein saying, I'm sorry, but don't forget, I came up in the free love era of the 60s and the 70s. Do you see here an era of misbehaving men coming to an end?
Let's hope so. I think it's an issue. We are in an era of just more accountability. Things don't die away as easily. There's social media. There's people finding out about different facets of people. There's investigative pieces that blow up. It's harder to hide the underbelly of a lot of different industries, and Hollywood is obviously no different. With Hugh Hefner, I learned that he had a huge influence in the civil rights era, which I didn't realize. But then you learn that he also never actually met Marilyn Monroe, but will be buried next to her. So you find the good and the bad in these people. But with someone like Harvey Weinstein, I also had heard rumors about it, but I feel like in Hollywood, there's so much gossip, there's so many tabloids, it can be really difficult to differentiate what's real from what's not. You think of someone like Bill Cosby, who that was also technically an open secret of sorts, but it took one male comedian coming forward in accountability to be able to get it in front of a wider audience.
Okay, well, we've got about a minute left. I want to get an answer from both of you on this one. Has anything really changed here? Especially, I'm thinking of the 23-year-old young woman who moves to L.A., who wants to break into the business and become a movie star. Has anything changed for her? Caitlin?
Well, you hope that somehow these people learn, these untouchable people in positions of power who are allegedly accused of these things, learn that it will be discovered. It can't be an open secret. And hopefully that would make their behavior reflective of the good part of society, and that people can be willing to speak out.
Scott, 20 seconds.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I'd also say there's never been a shortage of strong women in Hollywood, but there has been a shortage until now of very powerful women. We're starting to see some powerful women come up, women like Amy Pascal, who ran Sony Pictures, who came out against Harvey Weinstein, women like Megan Ellison, who runs Annapurna Pictures, an equivalent of sort of the Weinstein Company in the independent sphere. These are very powerful women who have a real influence in Hollywood because they could make real decisions about what films get made or don't get made. And if we have more of these women speaking out and exercising their power, I think we'll see less of this in the future.
All right, Scott Roxburgh and Caitlin Moore, to both of you, thank you very much. The day is nearly done. The conversation continues online. Write to us. You can write to me, Brent Goff TV. Don't forget to use the hashtag #TheDay. And no matter what happens between now and then, tomorrow is another day. We'll see you then, everyone.